Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the GSL Code A with Calder and Wolf. We are a little bit late today, like 1 minute, I guess. The guys in the production room were a bit sidetracked by the Korean women on screen. Quick shout out to Jay at this point.
I'm sure Jay knew which one of those girls was the prettiest, but
yeah, definitely. I mean, we talked about it, and we kind of agree.
We agree.
I don't think there's any doubt about that.
There's no doubt. I mean, they're all good, but there was a clear victor. I don't want to say who, but I know everyone at home knows.
You know, exactly. Well. And, well, we have some amazing players today, starting with StarCraft II. It is just insane. Today's matches are going to be incredible. We basically have so many former GSL champions today in our lineup, or run-ups. This is actually, like, ridiculous.
Our intro there showed a bunch of players on that pillar in the center, a bunch of Code S players, and everyone basically today is fighting to be in that pillar. Everyone wants to be in Code S, and whoever wins today will advance to Code S. Whoever loses will just simply be in the up and down matches, which is actually quite grueling and very difficult to get through. So we'll see exactly who's going to advance today. I'm really looking forward to these matches. Everyone's been kind of talking about today. Even though Diablo 3 came out, I feel like with all the issues that's going on with that, like you guys will get to enjoy that game eventually. I've been playing, you've been playing as well.
I was waiting hours, hitting on the login button, and my worst enemy, my final end boss, was Error 37. I hated it with a passion, and I have to say, I mean, the wait was worth it, but still, I have actually to say that I was about to name my first character Error 37, but the problem is you can't use any numbers.
Yeah, that is a problem. I played with Karn last night, and we were actually able to log in right at midnight, man. Right at midnight, we were in, no problem.
So much right now.
It was so much fun, but yeah, if you guys are, waiting for Diablo 3 to come back, or maybe, if your Diablo 3 did come back, why don't you actually have this up on your second monitor, or just listen to our voices in the background, play Diablo 3, and watch StarCraft 2 at the same time. It's going to be a great night for you guys.
Don't want to miss out on today's game.
No, definitely
We are starting off with a match between Virus from StarTale, and he is up against DongRaeGu. So this is already a really amazing match. And we have a quick look at the rest of today's games. So should be coming on the stream any second. There they are. And look at how many of these players are actually from Code S. We have DongRaeGu against Virus, Boom Boom Prime against Genius, Zerg versus Protoss that you don't want to miss, and of course also GOMTV against Symbol, Alive against Linux. And basically all these Code S Zergs right now that are struggling in Code A in order to get back into the top league.
It's true, man. They all have a story to tell, and we're going to find out which one of them is going to end up happy, man. It's going to be DongRaeGu against Virus. Virus, to my knowledge, has actually never not been in Code S. He's never been able to win or be one of the top Code S players, but he's always in Code S, man. And he's falling down to Code A here, but with our new format, if he wins this match against DongRaeGu, he'll be right back in Code S. But if he loses, he has the potential of being in Code S starting the season off, which I believe will be a first for him.
Today's matches are going to be so sick. I actually went to the lineup earlier and I just could not believe it. When I first saw what we were casting today, I was just looking at these player names and I was like, this can't actually be true. Especially if you think about it, for example, Alive against Linux, this is going to be such an intense game and only one of them will be able to make it. So this is just... Today's going to be insane. If you miss out on these games, then
there's no excuse.
There's no excuse. Even Diablo 3 is not an excuse at all. You can listen to the stream, watch the stream, and play at the same time. Catch the VODs. I really don't care, but if you miss those matches, that's...
It's inexcusable, man. We can't say any other way. Our first match is going to be between DongRaeGu and Virus, and DongRaeGu, if I'm not mistaken, he got a haircut, but it's a very mild haircut. You can see his hair is just a little bit shorter there. I kind of like the new style. It brings out his face a little bit more. Virus, on the other hand, rocking the darker hair these days. He normally dyes his hair to be quite orange. It's very bright colored, like the StarTale color. But these days, he's keeping it dark. And we'll see if he can take DongRaeGu out here. I think DongRaeGu is definitely the clear favorite, one of the best CBD players in the world. But Virus has never really been able to fall all the way out of Code S, so I guess the odds are in his favor in some ways here.
DongRaeGu is just amazing in this matchup. He has a 70% win ratio. It's his best matchup by far, and this is going to be so exciting. Virus will have to bring his A game if he wants to succeed here. And guys, we are ready. The first map is going to be Antigua, and let's just head into the game. This is the GSL Code A with Colin Wolf. Starting to the bottom right of the map, we have in the red color now our player for Team MVP. Former GSL champion, now fighting for his spot in Code S. The Zerg player known as
MVP DongRaeGu.
Sick Zerg player, just now making a splash in the scene. I mean, it's been doing it for about a year now, I guess, but before that, everyone was talking about how he should have been in the GSL. Now he's doing it, and his opponent up here at the top, always in Code S, he is
StarCraft Virus.
You catch the StarCraft Virus, man, you join their team. That's what happened to Fruit Dealer in the past.
Virus is really good. Well, it's his best matchup, the matchup against Zerg. On the other hand, I have to say that his record is not as impressive as the record of DongRaeGu, which is kind of a given if you face such an amazing player. So we have him with a 50% win ratio against Zerg. And lately, he took a game off Nest when they were playing in the GSL season in Code A. He was able to defeat Lucky earlier in the season, and also Yu-Gi-Oh! Didn't stand a chance in the first season. But this is a different caliber. DongRaeGu is probably the best Zerg player out there right now.
Yeah.
And it's going to be so hard for Virus to make this happen. But we'll see what he has up his sleeve.
Yeah, that's a really good point, man. I think Virus is like the player who is always there and always really good, but there's nothing about his play that really stands out to you. It's just solid, it's standard. Sometimes he does all-ins, but it's not like everyone's going to say, well, I don't know, Virus, I think he could make it to the round of 4 this season. No one ever says that about him.
And let's not forget that we had a few changes. We had changes with the latest patch.
Yeah, this is the first time
since the two of us casted in the new patch. And the Overlord, as you can see, is already hovering right next to the main base of Virus. So with the new Overlord speed, you get a lot more scouting information. Players right now are trying to figure out the timings a little bit better to know exactly what they can get away with. And let's not forget about the Queen. Those Queen changes are so important in this matchup.
Yeah, this is definitely the most important matchup for the Queen changes. It's going to really make it so the Zerg can spread their creep a lot better. The Hellion harassment is going to be much, much less effective. And the Overlord speed is basically increased by 25%, guys, to give you guys an exact number on that. And this SCV will come in here and see no gas. Both players at this point have seen their opponents taking no gas, just doing very regular expansion builds. Virus wants to double gas here, but he can't while his opponent has this gas, so we'll see how he transitions.
The Queen is especially so strong right now because the range against ground was a little bit upgraded, so instead of a range of 3, now have a range of 5, and this means that the Queen is at the same range as a Hellion. So defending against Hellion Hunters is a lot easier. You can just fend them off, can attack with the Queens a little bit, you get in those extra hits. And what's also very interesting to note is that if you have an SCV and you try to run past the Queen, it does not work anymore. With the extra hits that the Queen can use, now the SCV will die. Very nice play here, by the way, with the steal on the Extractor. Wolf already pointed it out, and you need 3 Marines to take down the Extractor while it's building. 2 just won't do the trick. And here also the double gas that Wolf pointed out earlier, which is exactly what Virus wants to do right now, and it was a little bit delayed.
Yeah, a little bit delayed. Virus, as a result, decided to go for a faster third command center. A little bit disappointing, though, that he made the third command center next to the gas. Then he tried to deny the drone from getting to the command center, but the drone just canceled and saw it. So that was a little bit disappointing. Virus could have hidden that third command center, but I think DongRaeGu would have pretty much known what he was up to either way, considering that he couldn't really double gas as early as he wanted to. The gas is starting to build up a little bit here for Virus. He will be making that factory to put some reactor Hellion pressure on, I believe. I mean, this patch has not been out very long. A lot of Terrans have been complaining they can't use their reactor Hellion pressure as much as they used to. We'll see exactly what the plan is here. Triple gas going down for DongRaeGu.
He's going straight for triple gas here, and he had only 23 drones when he did it. Right now, he's at 34. I'm really interested to see what exactly he's up to at this point. Could be kind of anything from a very fast 2-base Mulus up to Roach and Banelings. And he has the Roach Warren already. So if you really go for Roach and Baneling attack, you usually just get the Roach Warren and start with the Baneling Nest as soon as the first Roaches are on their way. So that's something that you can pull off. We'll see. We right now have a third base for Virus, so that's something that also indicates that he will be very late with the siege tanks.
He's making a tech lab. He made a tech lab first next to his factory. This may indicate that he is going to, in fact, start with siege mode before doing anything else. He could potentially get Blue Flame as well with another reactor going down. We shall see, and the answer is We'll find out in just a moment. We can see...
I guess he's going for a tank right here. Playing it safe would be the very wise choice in this
There was
situation.
a supply depot block at the third base for DongRaeGu, by the way, which was really
just
cool.
Look at the roaches. He's going straight for the roaches. We'll see if he follows up with the Baneling Nest. I actually kind of doubt it at this point. He has the gas to use the roaches, and I think he's going for an all... Oh, there's the Baneling Nest.
There it is, man. He is going to all in here. I mean, you can transition out of it depending on how it goes, but it's pretty much an all in.
That's pretty risky, though, especially because we have the first tank already.
Yeah.
This is a build that Thorzane really likes to use. I've seen him play this against Idra on this map and various other Zerg players, and it works quite well. The roaches are out, and I actually did not think that DRG would commit this much to this attack, but he does have a lot more than the usual amount of roaches that you have with this push, just because he got the 3 gas. That's the only reason why he can actually afford it.
That's a ton of roaches, man. That is 12 roaches. And the Marine count is simply at 8 at this point, so he's got 8 Marines and a Siege tank at this moment in time.
And
Siege mode is almost done, but... you know, this is just going to be so difficult to deal with because he doesn't have a bunker. He salvages his bunker. Oh no, Kaldor, this could be the thing that ends the game for him, and he may get caught here with these lings. He absolutely will.
But the Siege tank are ready. He has one on the low ground. A little bit of a misstep here. They will be picked up immediately. He tries to repair. Too late. Only 1 Siege tank left with 2 Siege tanks. This would have been a different story, but as it is, it's going to be pretty hard for Virus to hold this off. He will have to lift his orbital command on the low ground.
He absolutely will, and he's going to need to lift this depot as well. He does lift the depot. And another tank is about to pop, but the depot is not going to remain alive. There's too much firepower on those roaches. The SCVs are trying to buy time. The Siege tank doing a ton of damage, but Virus has already lost so much. The other Siege tank does pop out, and he will hold.
13 SCVs have already been killed. DRG did a ton of damage here. He's expanding again, taking a third, going for the double Evo and droning up behind this. He didn't get any Banelings at all, was just relying on the Zerglings and of course these roaches, this huge amount of roaches.
Yep, he does clean up here, and the supplies do even. Now the key here is that Virus has such a larger army than his opponent now, and if he can, hit his timings pretty well here, he's already powered up his reactors on his barracks. He's got Stim almost done. He's got +1 on the way. He can actually hit a nice timing. He does have the 3rd command center as well. It's something we didn't talk about too much, but he has that 3rd command center. So DongRaeGu actually, he was able to do a decent job with this push, but now if Virus moves into the next step correctly, he actually may even be considered ahead in some ways. I think this new Siege tank opening, well, it's not a new opening per se. Like you said, Thorzane's been doing this quite a bit. This Siege tank opening with a fast 3rd command center, though, may become the new norm for this matchup because a lot of people are really struggling to deal with this Queen. It's hard to use the Hellion pressure like people used to. In fact, I'm not even a big fan of the change. I'm actually not even 100% sure if I agree with it. But it's Blizzard's choice, and that's the choice that we're all going to have to live with. And, Artosis, for example, has actually talked a lot about this, saying that he feels that this change is really good, not because it's necessarily the best choice Blizzard could make, but it's going to force Terrans to change the way they play, and that's absolutely true.
What we have with this push is DRG was mining from 3 gas. He took a 4th gas, so he is at 900 gas right now, and he is going straight for the Spire. He started attacking when he realized that he would not be able to do too much damage with this attack. Virus, on the other hand, he had a bit of a problem with the 2nd Siege tank. If he would have been able to just establish the 2nd Siege tank in a sieged up position on the high ground, then DRG would have done a lot less damage, would probably not have lost this many SCVs, and Virus would be in a much better position. As it is, he has 3 bases, he can build 3 SCVs at a time, has 3 mules, so he's not that far behind. He's actually in a really good spot. And DRG has to be a little bit careful. He is able to spread his creep, and this is the downside if you go for this style that Virus is using right now. If you go for the fast tank, then you don't have the Hellions to control the map, and you are very, very safe, but you can't get aggressive.
Yeah, that's actually the best way to put it. You're safe, but you can't deny creep, you can't be aggressive. He's going to try to do a drop here. Does get denied. It was spotted earlier by a drone, which was actually going to make a hidden hatchery, but now Virus is very aware of this. Oh, he's going to catch some Overlords, in fact, on the right side of the map. This is a little bit of an overstep by DongRaeGu, sending those Overlords in that location where he knew the drop would be. And it looks like he will force a lift here. Oops, Virus not quite reacting in time.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that he didn't see that. We have also the Mutalisks now in production. And this is going to be pretty interesting how he already has the missile turret. So how will DRG use the Mutalisks? Will he try to do damage? Will he just try to kill the jobs? It's already amazing to see how well he uses his creep tumors. He has more than 10 active creep tumors on the map. And just look at it, we have the 30-minute mark and he is already in the middle of the map with them. It will be so hard for Virus to push out and to do some damage. He has to move on to creep. He will have to use a ton of scans in order to get rid of it. And DRG, he's still getting new creep trimmers. He has 10 right now, 10
this
building.
Actually, look at the minimap. This is actually, to be perfectly frank with you guys, like 100% real for a second. This is what this patch was for, so that Zergs can do this. Like, with no Hellions to pressure him, look at this. This is actually insanity. We are 14.5 minutes in the game, and the creep spread is so far. Is this necessarily wrong or bad? No, but man, it does give Zergs this huge opportunity to spread creep, and it's kind of cool to see how much of an impact it makes when you don't make Hellions.
It's kind of also a choice that Virus made, and now a few missile turrets are sniped in the main base. He is forced to retreat, DRG that is, because of the Marines. But yeah, the problem is that he didn't use any Hellions.
Yeah, he didn't make any at all. I mean, he basically what he said was, I'm going to make the siege tanks defend my third base. I'm not going to pressure you with Hellions. And even without the patch, yeah, this would have still been the same.
Also, what's really important, look at the amount of queens that he has. DRG chose to build 6 queens in total, so this helped quite a bit. If you rely on 3 queens on 3 bases or 4 queens on 3 bases, you will not be able to spread creep this fast.
No, you're exactly right. This pressure from Virus, he's trying to get up there and take out this creep, but DongRaeGu has enough units on top of the ramp. The middle of this map, the watchtower is so important, so pivotal to this matchup, and it's just granted him so much vision. Virus will be able to kill a few more drones here, and potentially the queen. Nope, not going to get the queen, and he will eventually be cleaned up here. This is kind of a weird situation to watch, but we'll clean those up finally with the extended queen range. And look at the creep spread, though. It's actually starting to push towards Virus' siege tank range. He's going to have to stop soon. He won't be able to move it any further forward. But Virus is in a position where he just cannot move. He can't even breathe.
The big problem that he has is that DongRaeGu, after the first initial push, took the map control. Virus is trying to get this big army on the 3 bases and then move out and kill his opponent. He has to be very cautious about it. He's scanning ahead now, taking down those creep tumors. But as mentioned before, he will be very, very slow with this push. And we have Infestors on the game, so he can use Fungals. This is very dangerous for Virus right now. But he knows that he has to push out. He has to do damage. If he waits any longer, DRG will just get base after base. He already has 4. He's taking a 5th. And this is something that Virus just simply can't allow.
He can't allow it. Now. He also needs to make sure he gets aggressive before the Greater Spire is
look at the upgrades.
Just started. Yeah, the upgrades are very far ahead. DongRaeGu at 2-2. Actually, they're both even in upgrades. He's just starting his 3-3, so it's not going to matter now, but it will matter soon. Oh my god, these Fungals!
The big point with the upgrades is that he already has the 3-3 on his way, so he will have a slight advantage. He has Thors in the mix that will make hard for the Mutalists. But now here comes the flank at the back. All these Banelings!
Setup here.
No target firing by the siege tanks, and the Banelings, wow. He saves the few Marine, but it's just way too much, and the Mutalists come in, take down the Medivacs. Virus drops down to 120 supply against 176. And
could not have been a better flank. Could not have been set up better.
Domination by DRG.
Absolute domination. You are so right, Caldor. At this point, Virus is basically hovering just over 100 supply. He's about to have 3-3 upgrades on his opponent, but his Marine count is at 33 at a time where you need at least 50 Marines basically to be able to be active on the map and use that upgrade advantage over your opponent. And he's adding more barracks now. He's trying to spend his money as best as he can, but he's also already having to prepare for these Broodlords. He's making 2 additional starports right now, so he can start making Vikings very quickly, but DongRaeGu has total control over the map. In fact, he's just going to dart in here with his Mutalists and force a cancel on this command center.
Exactly. He's doing a little bit of harassment now with the Mutalists. He's trying to just make sure that he has the map control. Overlords in positions everywhere to make sure that no drop is going to kill him. He's playing this very safe. We even have a few spine crawlers building. He's just trying to reduce his drone count. At the same time, he's making sure that his bases are safe. And 6 Broodlords in the making. So this is going to be pretty hard for Virus, who's already fighting a very, very tough game, as his opponent is just in such a great position.
He is, but Virus is actually getting himself control of the watchtower now. He's cleared the creep from there, and he's very carefully spreading his Marines and sieging forward. He does still have a shot with this. Remember, his 3-3 is about to be done, but he will have to close the distance somehow on these Broodlords, and he may in fact have to do it on creep. He's going to try to.
Virus has nothing to really fall back on. He has no 4th base, so he really has to do a lot of damage and try to establish a planetary fortress in the middle of the map. and I just don't see that happening at this point. He needs to force the creep back further, and DongRaeGu will not allow this. He will definitely try to take him down before that happens, and in the middle of the map now the fight's approaching, the Marines starting it, the Banelings trying to connect here, nice target firing with the Terran units, but will he be able to... Where are the Infestors?
They're totally AFK at this point, man.
There are no Infestors
he lost
anymore.
all of his Infestors earlier, he never made them, and Virus with a very key engagement here. The Ultralisk Cavern is on the way, 62 Lings in production. He's trying to remax as soon as possible so we can slow this push down. Virus, interestingly enough, is actually going to go for these northern bases rather than going for the heart.
Double burrow here, tries to take these units out. The big problem for DongRaeGu, one of the problems is he has... he does actually not have a lot of units left because, well, he has 90 drones. 90 drones is just simply too much, but will he fall for the trap, for the Baneling trap? Will he just move?
One Baneling trap does go off, but this
look at the rep, look at the rep! Oh my god! He's getting every single one of them. Beautiful, so well done. Virus now at 150 supply against 186 without a fourth base, trying to establish one in the middle of the map. But here comes DRG with everything that he has left. 200 supply, he's still maxed out, a 50 supply advantage. This is actually really, really tough for Virus as now Infestors joined the army. And well, DRG misstepped a little bit when he had no Infestors earlier when his Brood started to attack, but look at these Vikings.
We didn't talk about this yet. There are 9 Vikings out, but he's not making Broodlords anymore. He's only making Ultralists. He's already anticipated this from Virus, so now Virus has a ton of useless Vikings. He's actually going to be able to use them more so than anything else to kind of control where the Mutalisks are, but that's not really going to be that useful for him. He's starting to hunt some Overlords as well here, but again, with the amount of Overlords that DongRaeGu has made, it's just not going to be all that useful, but DongRaeGu is not able to deny Virus the center anymore, and Virus is actually moving out to attack yet again. He scans to make sure there are no Baneling traps. He's in a great position to assault this base. A few more spines going up, but they're not going to be ready in time.
And there goes the fourth base. The fourth base is gone for Virus, taken down by DRG. And, well, he's going to lose a base. He's going to lose a base, so there's nothing that he can do about it. But he still has 4 bases. He is still 1 additional base, and he's still in a great position. The upgrades are about to even out. But what exactly can Virus do right now? The economy of his opponent is better. He mined more during the entire course of the game. And this is pretty tough as the main army of Virus consists of Marines at this point.
He needs to win a key battle. That's what he needs. I mean, he's now put the economy down just a little bit of his opponent, but the creep spread is still going strong.
I don't like this, but
he needs to win a battle.
He builds additional drones, and he's already at... Oh, actually, sorry.
He lost a ton of drones at the
He doesn't really need them because he just saturates 2 mining bases, so he doesn't need additional drones. But he lost 30, so that's okay. Earlier on, he had 90 drones, which is definitely too much if you're fighting a 200 battle.
Yeah, and it's going to come back to... It's definitely going to show in this next fight, which is the most... This is potentially going to be the most important point in this game. If Virus wins this fight, DongRaeGu will not be able to defend his base anymore and will lose, within the next few minutes.
He needs good fungals. DRG needs good fungals here. He only has 3 Infestors. This is going to be a problem. He takes down all of these Vikings.
Yeah, but that's not even too big of a problem for Virus. I'm a little bit surprised he used so much fungal energy and lost all of his Butas.
The Infestors are on the move. They might actually be caught off guard here by all of the Marines.
Yep, there's a drop in the main base that barely escapes Baneling attack. I feel like DongRaeGu's positioning here is actually really bad. Like, if he fights Virus right now, Virus sieges up and spreads well, DongRaeGu's army will melt in seconds. He doesn't even have +3 just yet. It's about to finish.
DRG was dominating this, and then he made a few simple mistakes with his unit composition.
Oh man, this is such a good position for Virus. If DongRaeGu decides to fight here, it's going to be terrible.
Nice Marine split here by Virus.
Oh, some of the units of Virus... Yeah, some of the units of Virus are a little bit out of position now, and this is going to be good for DongRaeGu to actually come in at this moment.
He catches the tanks right now. The Marines are not moving, not microed at all. They are still Infestors alive, and now Virus dropping down in supply, as is DRG. Virus trying to get back into this game, still 4 bases against 3. And I have to say that Virus started a really nice comeback. DRG with a few small mistakes that can definitely happen in the heat of the battle, in the heat of the moment, but well, he had such a huge lead, and now suddenly Virus is on the edge of establishing a 4th base in the middle of the map. If he succeeds with doing this, he can actually take the game after all.
I think he's arguably in the better position, in fact, now, Caldor. He's got the army. His opponent's got an army that's a little bit clunky and awkward. He's having to remake his infestors. He no longer can defend drops without spines.
But he has 8 infestors building, and he has already the ultralisks. He just transfused all the ultralisks with the queens.
Really smart,
so if he uses those infestors correctly, then he will win this game. But he has to get these fungals.
Yeah, I mean, I just mentioned briefly the infestors were gone. Now they're back. And Virus doesn't have any siege tanks anymore in this mix. He's a little bit reluctant to build them because of his economy. Look at his minerals. He's got only 200, but he has 3,000 gas. The limiting factor here, definitely the minerals for him. And he's controlling the center, but he's trying to build a composition that won't be relevant anymore as soon as DongRaeGu decides to switch things up and go back into a different type of tech here. The infestors are going to be so key with no siege tanks on the field. DongRaeGu posturing a little bit, does not decide to go up that ramp. A smart choice at this point, although he could potentially force his way up there. He's not going to try it. His base at the right side has been spotted by a Marine. And, well, I mean, in some ways I feel like Virus has the upper hand, but in most ways I feel like DongRaeGu does. It's just going to come down to how these engagements occur, and if DongRaeGu can stop him from getting another base.
At this point, we have a really marine-heavy army, and here comes the attack by DRG. He's moving in. Look at these fungals. He catches most of the Marines off guard, and now suddenly Virus is in a terrible spot as DRG just goes through the entire Terran army without losing anything at all.
Yeah,
Can attack the 4th base. There is no planetary. He can't repair it. He can't count on the planetary as a defensive measure, and this is just too much. 70 supply advantage now for DRG.
And that's the second time a Virus battle has gone into DongRaeGu's favor, partially because Virus's units were split into 2 groups. He had a ton of his units rallied out from the barracks that were not with that main army. If they had been together, he might have won that fight, but he definitely would have had a better chance than if he did it fighting it the way he just did. He's now going to try to move his way up here. There are so many fungals available, though, to slow him down, and the infested Terrans are starting to go to work now on this base, making it so that he cannot mine. He literally has no mining right now, and it looks like DongRaeGu has finally taken this game. There's not much else that Virus can do. He doesn't have the economy. He doesn't have the army. He's got a little bit of harassment potential, but DongRaeGu is starting to react. He's starting to put spine crawlers up everywhere. He's going to clean this one up on the left side. Virus going in for his final attack. He catches the infestors off guard a little bit, but the fungals will still be true, and that is going to be the end of the final army for Virus.
There are too many infestors right now. Nice blocking with these SCVs as well. Really well done. Takes the SCVs in order to block the ultralisks a little bit, but it's not going to be enough, as you already mentioned. He's down to 40 supply against 140, and the Bailings, they go in, take the SCV downs. GG. After DRG was struggling a little bit more than I expected, he takes the game in the end after all. It was just a little bit weird to see him fight in the middle of the map with the Brood Lords without infestor support.
He didn't have the infestor support. This is something we've talked about time and time again. The reason why a lot of Zerg players don't get Brood Lords on this map is because there's so much area for Marines to run under them. That's why you have to have those infestors. You're so right, Caldor.
I don't really think that he realized that he didn't have any infestors.
Yeah, it must have been an oversight. DongRaeGu is much smarter than that.
It happens.
Virus's play, though,
was sometimes to try to build a unit, your supply block for a second, it doesn't work. You think you have the infestors already in the game. And I think he was pretty surprised. He wouldn't have engaged there without the ground support and without the infestors, if not for that. But Virus,
he played so well, despite being... I mean, he was so behind from the beginning. I mean, he held the Roach attack fairly well. He basically put himself on even footing. I think both players traded pretty evenly there. But after losing his first main battle, he was able to come back really well with that good engagement. His macro was decent. He knew when to take the 4th, and he did it well. His control and his movements around the map were really good. He lost a ton of Marines. For example, if he hadn't lost his Marines to those Banelings, I think this game would have potentially been better for him as well. Looked really, really strong against DongRaeGu, and DongRaeGu, he's up a game, but he can't get complacent here because the next map is going to be Cloud Kingdom, and I think he may lose this game if he gets complacent at all. Like, Virus is looking so strong right now.
Virus had a little bit bad luck in the first engagement as well. You mentioned that he salvaged his bunker, and also the siege tank was at the low ground at this point. Imagine the siege tank, just picture it on the high ground, 2 siege tanks, and you lift your supply depots in time. Suddenly the Roaches will do some damage, but you have 2 tanks attacking into a choke point, and then he loses all his Roaches, doesn't kill those 13 SCVs, and with 3 bases and this economy, he would have been in a much better position to get aggressive. But as it was, he did not have the army and the potential to really put pressure on DRG.
You're exactly right. Well, Caldor, it's time for game 2 on the Cloud
Exactly.
Between DongRaeGu and his opponent Virus from the Team StarTale. We'll find out if DongRaeGu can close it out 2-0.